Have you ever wondered why someone can love you deeply, yet still keep their distance? Why "I love you" sometimes seems to fall flat, leaving you wondering if they truly care? The truth is, for people with avoidant tendencies, love isn't measured by words. It's measured by the quiet, often overlooked gestures that show understanding, respect, and genuine connection. Today, we're going to uncover 12 powerful ways avoidants show and receive love. Ways far more meaningful than simply saying those 3 words. By the end, you'll see that love isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's in the subtle, steady actions that speak louder than any declaration ever could. When it comes to people with avoidant tendencies, words often carry less weight than actions. Saying "I love you" might feel meaningful to many, but for an avoidant, these declarations can feel abstract, fleeting, or even uncomfortable. They are wired to be cautious with emotional intimacy, and verbal expressions of love, though well-intentioned, can sometimes trigger a sense of pressure or obligation. What they truly notice and remember are the concrete ways in which someone demonstrates care. Small, consistent actions speak volumes to them because actions are tangible. They can be observed, measured, and understood without the ambiguity that words often bring. For an avoidant, the reliability of behavior reassures them far more than any spoken phrase could. If someone consistently shows up, follows through on promises, and makes life a little easier or more pleasant for them, it communicates love in a language they understand instinctively. They are highly attuned to the nuances of behavior. A partner who takes the time to notice what they need and responds appropriately earns a deeper connection than someone who merely recites feelings. For example, preparing a meal after noticing they had a long day, leaving a note of encouragement, or quietly helping with responsibilities demonstrates attentiveness and care without creating emotional pressure. These gestures are not just practical. They convey thoughtfulness, consideration, and commitment, all of which resonate deeply with someone who struggles with verbal intimacy. Avoidants often have a history of feeling misunderstood or overwhelmed by emotional demands, so actions that are consistent and steady reassure them without demanding a verbal reciprocation. It's not that they are incapable of appreciating words, but words alone can feel hollow if they are not backed by consistent effort and genuine engagement. They are skilled observers and naturally skeptical of verbal promises. When someone repeatedly shows up in ways that matter, the avoidant internalizes these actions as a demonstration of reliability and safety, which gradually builds trust. Trust is the foundation for deeper connection for an avoidant, and seeing love reflected in behavior rather than speech helps them relax their defenses. The beauty of this dynamic is that it creates a form of intimacy that is quiet yet profound. Avoidants respond to love that respects their need for autonomy, while simultaneously affirming their value through action. Even small, seemingly mundane gestures gain significance because they are free from the pressure and vulnerability that verbal declarations can impose. Consistency, presence, and thoughtfulness are the language in which avoidants truly hear love. A simple act like sharing a cup of coffee in the morning, noticing a change in their mood, or remembering a preference communicates attentiveness and consideration that is far more impactful than a verbal expression alone. They feel understood when their partner meets them in a tangible way, allowing them to experience connection safely and naturally. Over time, these repeated demonstrations cultivate intimacy, understanding, and a sense of being genuinely valued, all without forcing them into uncomfortable verbal territory. Ultimately, for someone with avoidant tendencies, actions are the truest reflection of love. They prefer gestures that are steady, practical, and considerate, allowing them to engage emotionally without feeling overwhelmed. Every small act of care, thoughtfulness, or support communicates a deeper commitment than words ever could. actions become the quiet, enduring proof of love, bridging the gap between emotional hesitation and connection in a way that resonates profoundly and meaningfully. For someone with avoidant tendencies, respect for independence is not just a preference, it is essential for any meaningful connection. Avoidants are often deeply aware of their own need for space and autonomy, and they have learned over time that their emotional well-being depends on maintaining a sense of control over their personal lives. When someone recognizes and honors this need, it communicates a level of understanding and acceptance that goes far beyond saying, "I love you." Verbal expressions of affection, while well-meaning, can sometimes feel like a subtle intrusion or an expectation to reciprocate in a way that feels overwhelming. Avoidants do not fear intimacy in its entirety, but they fear losing themselves or being engulfed in a relationship that threatens their sense of independence. Therefore, a partner who respects boundaries and allows them the freedom to exist as they are demonstrates a kind of love that feels safe, real, and sustainable. Respecting their independence involves more than just giving physical space. It also means acknowledging their emotional rhythms and their ways of processing feelings. Avoidants often take longer to open up, and pushing them to share or express emotions before they are ready can trigger resistance or withdrawal. Instead, patience and recognition of their pace communicate understanding and acceptance without the pressure that words alone cannot always convey. When their autonomy is respected, they are able to engage in the relationship without feeling trapped or suffocated, which paradoxically allows them to become closer over time. They do not interpret a steady, non-intrusive presence as disinterest, but as a profound sign of trust and respect. Consistency in respecting independence also reinforces emotional safety. Avoidants often associate closeness with vulnerability, which can feel risky or uncomfortable. By honoring their need for space and giving them the freedom to manage their personal life, a partner signals that the relationship is not about control or possession, but about genuine connection. This type of love is subtle and quiet, yet incredibly powerful because it aligns with their intrinsic needs. Simple actions, like allowing them to spend time alone, supporting their hobbies, or trusting their decisions, communicate a depth of understanding that verbal assurances cannot match. The avoidant experiences love not as an obligation or a statement to be measured, but as a lived reality through the respect they are granted. Furthermore, honoring their independence encourages authentic engagement. When avoidants feel pressured to constantly reassure or validate a partner verbally, it can activate their protective mechanisms and push them further away. However, when they are free to express love in their own way and at their own pace, they are more likely to initiate connection naturally. This fosters a healthier dynamic in which love is expressed organically rather than performed or coerced. A partner who intuitively knows when to step forward and when to step back becomes a safe harbor, allowing the avoidant to lower defenses without feeling controlled. Ultimately, respect for independence is a form of love that avoids grand gestures or dramatic statements, but is no less meaningful. It is an acknowledgement of their individuality, their boundaries, and their need for personal space. By offering freedom rather than pressure, patience rather than insistence, and trust rather than doubt, a partner demonstrates a deep and lasting form of care. Avoidants respond profoundly to this type of respect because it aligns with their internal logic and emotional patterns, creating a connection that feels safe, authentic, and enduring. Love in this context is not about words or promises, but about the quiet, steady affirmation that their autonomy is valued, their boundaries are honored, and their individuality is cherished. For someone with avoidant tendencies, emotional safety is one of the most crucial aspects of any relationship. They often carry an internalized fear of being judged, misunderstood, or overwhelmed by intense emotional exchanges, which makes opening up a vulnerable act. Words like "I love you" can feel abstract or even intimidating because they imply an expectation of emotional closeness that may be difficult for them to meet. What they truly need is a sense of security that allows them to be themselves without fear of criticism or intrusion. Creating an environment where they feel accepted and understood is far more meaningful to them than verbal affirmations alone. Emotional safety is built over time through patience, consistency, and an understanding of their unique emotional landscape. It is the quiet assurance that no matter how distant or reserved they may appear at times, they will not be punished or abandoned for their boundaries or their cautious approach to intimacy. When they perceive this safety, avoidants are able to engage more freely and authentically because they no longer feel that connection must come at the cost of their independence or comfort. Avoidants are highly sensitive to subtle cues in behavior, tone, and reaction. If a partner reacts with frustration, criticism, or impatience when they hold back or need space, it reinforces the very fears they have about intimacy and can lead to further withdrawal. On the other hand, when a partner remains calm, steady, and non-judgmental, it communicates a deep respect for their emotional state. It reassures them that they are not being evaluated, pressured, or forced into emotional exposure before they are ready. This quiet reliability is far more powerful than words because it demonstrates understanding in a tangible way. Over time, the consistent presence of such safety fosters trust, reduces anxiety, and gradually allows the avoidant to engage more openly. The knowledge that they can retreat without consequence and return without reproach provides a stable foundation on which deeper connection can be built. Another key aspect of emotional safety for avoidants is the absence of manipulation or emotional coercion. They are extremely sensitive to attempts to provoke vulnerability through guilt, persuasion, or pressure. Relationships that rely heavily on emotional appeals or verbal declarations of love can inadvertently feel threatening because they require the avoidant to give more than they are comfortable with in that moment. Instead, they respond to relationships where love is shown through supportive, thoughtful, and unobtrusive actions. Simple behaviors like listening without judgment, acknowledging their needs without criticism, and allowing them to have control over the pace of emotional exchanges communicate acceptance and reliability. These gestures reinforce the idea that they are not required to compromise their emotional boundaries in order to be valued or loved. Avoidants also appreciate a partner who can tolerate silence, emotional distance, or reflective moments without interpreting these behaviors as rejection or disinterest. Emotional safety is about understanding that their withdrawal is a protective strategy, not a personal affront. When a partner maintains patience and composure during these moments, it communicates a profound respect for their inner world. This creates a sense of security that allows avoidants to gradually open up without feeling rushed or coerced. Over time, this dynamic fosters mutual respect, deeper trust, and authentic intimacy. Ultimately, emotional safety is not built through grand gestures or repeated verbal affirmations. It is cultivated through consistent, patient, and non-judgmental behavior that allows the avoidant to exist fully as themselves. When someone prioritizes creating this secure environment, they offer a form of love that is quiet but deeply transformative, enabling avoidants to engage emotionally without fear and forming the foundation for a lasting, meaningful connection. For someone with avoidant tendencies, consistency is far more meaningful than verbal declarations of love. They have often experienced unpredictability in emotional relationships, either from past partners, family dynamics, or early attachments, which has shaped their cautious approach to intimacy. For them, words can feel fleeting and unreliable, while actions reveal the true measure of commitment. Consistency is the quiet signal that someone is dependable, trustworthy, and capable of creating a safe environment. It is not about grandiose gestures or occasional displays of affection, but rather the steady, reliable presence that demonstrates care over time. When they see repeated patterns of supportive behavior, avoidants interpret this as genuine investment in the relationship, which builds trust far more effectively than repeated verbal affirmations. Consistency reassures them that love is not conditional, that emotional support is dependable, and that they can engage without the fear of sudden disappointment or abandonment. Avoidants are highly attuned to discrepancies between what someone says and what they do. They notice the small details that others might overlook, whether promises are kept, whether help is offered without complaint, whether routines that matter to them are respected. Words alone cannot provide this reassurance because they can be empty, misremembered, or forgotten in moments of stress. Actions, on the other hand, are visible, measurable, and repeatable. A partner who consistently demonstrates thoughtfulness, reliability, and respect communicates love in a language the avoidant truly understands. This does not mean that spontaneity or creativity is unappreciated, but the foundation of trust for someone with avoidant tendencies is built on the predictability and reliability of consistent behavior. Consistency also relates to emotional availability. Avoidants can feel deeply threatened by erratic emotional expressions, mood swings, or unpredictable reactions, as these can create a sense of instability that triggers their protective instincts. A partner who maintains a steady, calm, and measured approach allows them to relax their defenses without feeling coerced or pressured. They are able to engage more authentically when they know they can count on the other person to respond thoughtfully without overreacting or making assumptions. Over time, this steady presence teaches the avoidant that closeness does not need to be risky, that emotional engagement is safe, and that love does not have to come with volatility. Even small, consistent actions carry profound weight for someone with avoidant tendencies. Remembering preferences, following through on plans, responding to messages thoughtfully, and showing up during difficult times all communicate commitment without verbal pressure. These repeated gestures signal that they are valued, that their needs are acknowledged, and that their emotional boundaries are respected. They allow the avoidant to internalize the idea that they are worthy of care and consideration, which is often difficult for them to accept verbally. Each action reinforces the reality of love in a tangible way that words alone cannot achieve. Ultimately, for avoidants, consistency is the clearest expression of reliability, stability, and care. It demonstrates that love is not only declared, but lived, repeated, and reinforced through everyday actions. This reliability builds trust, reduces anxiety, and gradually encourages emotional engagement. Consistent behavior becomes the foundation upon which intimacy can flourish safely, showing the avoidant that they can rely on someone to be present, supportive, and dependable without feeling overwhelmed. Love, in this context, is not about grand pronouncements or fleeting emotional highs. It is a steady, reassuring force that communicates care and commitment over time. And it is this enduring reliability that avoidants appreciate far more than any spoken words ever could. For someone with avoidant tendencies, small acts of thoughtfulness often carry far more weight than words like, "I love you." They are naturally cautious about emotional intimacy, and grand declarations or overt displays of affection can feel overwhelming or even insincere. What truly resonates with them are the subtle, meaningful gestures that show someone is paying attention to who they are, what they need, and what makes their life easier or more comfortable. These small acts communicate care in a way that words alone cannot. because they are concrete, observable, and grounded in the reality of everyday life. They signal that someone is attuned to their world, and that they are valued in practical, tangible ways rather than simply being the recipient of abstract emotions. Avoidants are skilled observers, and they notice the details that often go unseen. Remembering their favorite coffee, leaving a note to encourage them, preparing something thoughtful without being asked, or simply supporting them quietly during stressful moments demonstrates attentiveness, understanding, and care. These gestures convey love in a language that feels safe and genuine, bypassing the ambiguity that verbal expressions can sometimes create. Small acts of thoughtfulness work because they allow avoidants to experience connection without the pressure of emotional intensity. They are sensitive to anything that might feel demanding or invasive, and words alone can sometimes imply obligations or expectations. When care is shown through action, however, it communicates consideration without demanding a verbal response or emotional reciprocity. Each small gesture signals respect for their autonomy while simultaneously nurturing closeness, which helps them feel appreciated and understood on their own terms. Avoidants are more likely to internalize these actions as evidence of love because the behaviors are consistent, reliable, and grounded in reality. Over time, these gestures accumulate, creating a subtle but powerful web of reassurance that strengthens trust and fosters emotional safety. These small gestures also demonstrate emotional intelligence and empathy. Avoidants often feel most comfortable when their partners can perceive their needs and respond without being told, because this reduces the sense of pressure that comes from verbal interaction. By observing and responding thoughtfully, a partner signals that they are attuned to the avoidance world and capable of meeting them in a way that respects their boundaries. This can include noticing when they need space, offering help without making it feel obligatory, or simply being present in moments of quiet reflection. Each of these actions shows that the relationship is not about performing love through words or dramatics, but about genuine engagement and mutual understanding. Another important aspect is that small acts of thoughtfulness communicate reliability and stability. Avoidants often struggle with trusting that others will remain consistent in their care, so repeated gestures build confidence in the relationship. Unlike verbal promises, which can be forgotten or misinterpreted, these actions are tangible proof that someone is invested in them and their well-being. They create a foundation of trust that allows the avoidant to gradually lower their defenses, feel secure, and engage more authentically. Even something as simple as noticing a change in their mood, remembering an important date, or quietly supporting them in a way that aligns with their values demonstrates attentiveness and love in a way that feels meaningful and non-intrusive. Ultimately, small acts of thoughtfulness carry profound significance for avoidants because they communicate care, understanding, and reliability without creating emotional pressure. These gestures, repeated consistently over time, provide reassurance, build trust, and create a safe environment in which the avoidant can feel seen, valued, and understood. They show love in a tangible, actionable, and non-threatening way, making them far more impactful than verbal affirmations alone. For someone with avoidant tendencies, being understood without being pressured is one of the most profound forms of love they can experience. They are deeply aware of their own emotional patterns and often carry a fear of being overwhelmed, judged, or controlled in relationships. Because of this, they tend to be cautious in their emotional expression and may retreat when they feel pushed to share or perform feelings. They do not respond well to attempts to force intimacy or to demand emotional reciprocation, and even well-intentioned expressions of love can feel threatening if they imply obligation. What they appreciate most is a partner who sees and understands their patterns without insisting on change or emotional exposure. This kind of understanding communicates respect, acceptance, and safety in a way that words alone rarely achieve. Avoidants recognize when someone is capable of meeting them where they are, valuing them not for their vulnerability but for who they are, including their need for space and self-sufficiency. Understanding an avoidant involves recognizing the subtle ways they express care and connection, often without overt displays of emotion. They may show love through actions, thoughtfulness, and attentiveness, but these expressions are often understated and easily overlooked by those who expect traditional forms of emotional intimacy. A partner who notices these nuances without judgment communicates profound empathy. They acknowledge that love can exist outside of verbal affirmation or dramatic gestures, and that the avoidance style of connection is valid and meaningful. This recognition reduces the pressure the avoidant feels to conform to conventional emotional expectations, allowing them to engage more authentically and comfortably. It is a form of acceptance that does not demand alteration or adaptation, which is crucial for someone whose emotional defenses are designed to protect their autonomy. Avoidants also appreciate when their boundaries are respected without argument or complaint. They need to know that moments of withdrawal, quiet reflection, or need for personal space will not be met with frustration or interpreted as rejection. A partner who understands this dynamic and accepts it without making it a source of conflict communicates a level of respect and patience that fosters trust. Over time, this understanding allows the avoidant to gradually lower their defenses and feel safe in the relationship. They recognize that they can be themselves without fear of triggering tension or disappointment, which strengthens emotional connection in a subtle but profound way. Another element of understanding without demanding is the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Avoidants are sensitive to emotional intensity, and relationships that are volatile, unpredictable, or emotionally coercive can quickly trigger withdrawal. A partner who approaches the relationship with calm, measured responses demonstrates that they can handle the avoidance patterns without overstepping boundaries. This patience and steadiness communicate that the relationship is not about control or manipulation, but about genuine care and partnership. Avoidants internalize this as a demonstration of reliability and safety, which allows them to engage emotionally without feeling pressured or compromised. Ultimately, understanding without demanding communicates a form of love that is quiet, respectful, and profoundly reassuring. It validates the avoidant's emotional patterns, honors their need for autonomy, and creates a safe space in which they can exist fully as themselves. When someone embodies this level of understanding, the avoidant experiences connection not as an obligation or performance, but as a genuine, secure, and lasting bond. This approach allows love to grow organically without the stress of verbal expectation or emotional pressure, creating a foundation for trust, intimacy, and mutual respect that resonates far more deeply than any words could.